Hi, thanks.
So how do you see the online retail ecosystem in India as of now?
Okay, the online retail ecosystem. I think we have two different has not yet fully woken up to the fact that online retail is here and big, and consumers are moving in droves. And there's a world of online retail which is very small, which is built up by people with not too much traditional retail experience. So I think I see a future which is far more integrated between the two. And my sense is that if traditional retail wakes up fast enough, it can actually counter online retail. If not, it'll be steamrolled. Walmart did not wake up. Amazon steamrolled it in many ways, and I think uh, even out here that'll happen unless traditional retail wakes up and understands how this new medium works, and maybe partners or finds its own way to win.
So sir, how do you see the participation of offline retail into online retail? In fact, we have been talking about of participation of offline retail in online retail. So what is your perspective about that?
See, I take the consumer's perspective. From a consumer's point of view, I think a consumer would like to be able to buy stuff wherever they want. There's a different experience of going to a store. There's an experience of touching and feeling an ambience, and that's their expectation from a showroom. It's not like they want to stop going to shops. And there's a different experience online, which is being able to look at range and being able to buy very easily. There's no reason you can't have both, right? I think it's mistaken to think that you will run a pure offline business or a pure online business. I think the businesses that figure out how to do both well fast enough will be the ones that give the customers the best experience and hence will make the most profits.
Sir, how do you see the valuation as well as investment? And in fact, it has been one of the favorite topics of yours. You have been speaking at length on that. So how do you see? Recently, we have seen the Flipkart got the funding on it, $50 million valuation. So how do you see the valuation and investment game going in the
My sense is that I'm again not an authority to comment on Flipkart or even to I don't necessarily even think that the 850 million number is correct. I understand it was a lesser number, but I could be wrong. Uh, my as an investor, my issue with valuations that are very high is that it's a false game. You're valuing a company very high because you actually don't really intend ever for that company to be a real business. You just intend to give it on Topi and sell it off to the next guy. The problem with that is that's a very short-term strategy, and it doesn't really build business out here in the long term. In the long term, you want to have companies that go public in India that many shareholders buy into, like a Reliance. You build an institution over time. You don't come here, build a company, Topi, and get out. Nobody remembers Abazi today because it's something else today. So companies that come and go away are short-term things, and these are not, to me, true entrepreneurial ventures. A true entrepreneurial venture is something that is here to stay and not here to be topied and flipped into something else. I'm more from the point of view that you build a company to stay, you build a company for the long term. Don't build it to flip it to some other idiot by putting a topi on him at a higher valuation, and don't believe that topi will come. It won't necessarily come. Just because you have a lot of customers and losing money doesn't mean anybody will necessarily want to buy you. It'll mean you'll run out of money fast.
So, sir, we have seen the trend of burning the investors' money, and we have also seen the result. We have seen the demise of Taggle as well as Work Magnet. So, do you think there would be more demise on the way?
I think there will be, and just like, but it's not just online. You'll see demise of offline stores. You'll see demise of online stores. I mean, there's been a Vishal in Megamart, and others that have had the same problem. It's not. I think at any point in time, if you apply bad business practices, it is. I mean, online is not a magic thing. You practice bad business, and because it's online, it'll work. I think you practice bad business online, offline, underwater, underground, anywhere. Bad business is bad business. I think the opportunity is to practice good business and make money. And there are slightly different ways of doing that online and offline. And I would hope in the future in an integrated way.
Sir, we have been talking a lot about consumer acquisition strategy and consumer acquisition cost. So, what would be your suggestion to the startups and new entrepreneurs who are coming and they are not having large budget and
Yeah, so aim for a customer acquisition cost of zero. It should be as close to zero as possible. People should come walk into your door because you're doing something so special and so unique that they tell all their friends and they come to you. I mean, what was the customer acquisition cost of Facebook? Nothing, right?
as Redbus did?
Yeah, Redbus, Carvali. I mean, these are not people who have spent lots of money or any money on advertising. So, or Facebook or Twitter or Anna Hazare or Google. I mean, you never saw an ad for Google and said, now I will use the search engine. You never saw an ad for Facebook and said, now I'll use this. These are not. You build long-term valuable brands not because of advertising. You actually build them without advertising today. And advertising is something you look at 5, 10 years later when you're very big and you want to make a different kind of statement. It's not something you say, "Chalo, I need to run a big campaign right now." I don't. I believe, historically around the world, all the companies that have advertised big, the online companies have failed big.
So, sir, there is a question as a marketeer. In fact, we have seen a trend. In fact, there is a marketplace, managed marketplace called shopclues.com. They have started with Facebook selling, and they have been doing amazingly good according to their data, whatever they have provided to us. So, how do you see the trend, and how do you see the scope and evolvement of social shopping, especially on Facebook and other social networking mediums?
The way I look at it, I think Facebook is not a good place to buy, but it's a good place to figure out what to buy. Facebook is you go to Facebook not to spend money, but you go to Facebook to share opinions. So the way I look at it is, before I buy travel, I will, go to TripAdvisor, which is a social site, and figure out which hotel to stay in. I may book it, in a different site. So social will absolutely play a role in shopping. So I believe in the future of social aided shopping, and not so much social shopping. I don't see stores opening on Facebook, but or stores opening on LinkedIn. But I see LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Plus, all of these guys having a big impact in the future on what to buy from a store. I think they will be the sources of demand. They're not necessarily the sources of fulfillment.
Sir, we have also seen the trend of web exclusive labels like Zovi.com. So, how do you see the scope of web exclusive store?
I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be web exclusive. It can be web started. At some point, Zovi can become a real store on the ground. From the consumer's point of view, consumers are not saying, "Oh, that's a web-only label. Oh, that's an offline-only label." Consumers, for offline on, it's the same thing. It makes no difference, right? So if you're web exclusive, that's just your choice. It's as common as offline exclusive. Again, I think in the future, the integrated model. There's no reason for a brand to only be on the web. It can be on the web, and it can also sell through Big Bazaar, and vice versa.
Sir, there is one question from investment point of view. So, what would be your suggestion for startups and entrepreneurs who are looking for investment? And as you deal with SeedFund, you probably look for smaller.
Yeah, first of all, start your business. Don't come to me and wanting to start your business. Start in some way. Figure out what the problem is. Figure out how you're selling. Figure out a way to do it. Put your own money. Put your own experience. Learn something. Right. Don't just come and say, "I have an idea." Nobody funds ideas. We fund businesses, and we fund viable businesses. Second, we only fund businesses that have the potential to be leaders in a new space. So if you come in with the 5th men's fashion brand or the 18th deals portal, I'm really not interested. I'm interested in something brand new. I'm not interested in a Me Too. Uh, these are the two kind of fundamental things. And beyond that, make sure you don't need a lot of money. Make sure you can break even in the money that you're asking for. Make sure that uh, you know, you have good chemistry with the investor, and so on and so forth. And then pick an investor who can help you, and not just monetarily. There are many people with money, but if you're a startup, you don't need just money. You need money and advice. So find somebody who can give you that advice, who can give you that mentoring capability.
Yeah. And last question, how do you see the prospect of deal-centric businesses in online space?
Deal-centric. What does that mean?
All deal-centric businesses who are providing deals.
Oh, deal-centric. There's room for 1 player, 2 players, or 3 players. At last count, some time ago there were 78. That's probably come down a little bit. I don't think, there is a fundamental problem out here. They go to shops and say that we will give you a loyal customer, just give a discount. The problem is, so shops give a discount, but they don't get a loyal customer. Nobody goes back to a shop. I mean, the person who goes to a deal site is a bottom scraper. So it's good. It's a good place to finish inventory. It's not a good place to find new loyal customers. So as a result, the Groupon model will not do as well as the Living Social model, which is more about, finishing inventory. So I think you will not find room for 78 of 100 sites. Maybe 5 at the most will survive.
And how do you think about Snapdeal? According to ComScore, they are doing very good.
So I don't think traffic is a proxy for business. For me, I'd like to see the balance sheet, and if it's profitable, I can, or not, that will take a judgment. Just because you have traffic is not a big indicator of anything. SavitaBhabi.com had a lot of traffic. It didn't do a lot for them. They don't make a lot of money. So it's about making money. It's just page views by itself are meaningless to me unless you're a media site.
So thanks a lot, Mahesh.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot for
Thanks.
speaking.
Thanks.